Hello Year 3 and welcome to Lesson 1 this week of reading, and we're on Chapter 8, the day of the contest, and we need to find out who the winner's going to be and what's going to happen. Our learning objective will be to explore how the author demonstrates feelings towards characters. So what you need to do is write down the date in your book and then that learning objective underneath it as well, and underline it with a pencil and ruler. Very good, so take a moment to do that, pause the video, and then we'll move on to the Robin Hood recap. And we'll do that in 3, 2, 1. So, what do you remember? Number 1, how many people are left in the archery contest, and who were they? What were their names? I wonder if you can remember. Number 2, find and copy words that describe the atmosphere. So what's the mood of this competition? Are there any words that you can see that we've covered in the book that show us what it's like at this contest? And then number 3, what is an archer? And that's something that we've covered before. Okay, pause the video now, see if you can answer those questions in your book, and then we'll check our answers together. Okay? And we'll check those in 3, 2, 1. So there are 4 people left in this competition. One of them is the hooded Saxon stranger, which we know is Robin. Another is the Saxon Dickon of Trent. And the other 2 were Hugo, the Norman captain, and William Tyrrell, who is one of Gisborne's men as well. They're both Normans. How do we know? What was it like? Well, it says that rivalry in the crowd grew intense, which must mean that it's getting quite excitable over there as people want to see who is going to be the winner. And an archer is a person who uses a bow and arrows. Well done if you got those. Okay, let's have a look at the words that we're using today in the reading. The first one is chanted, and that's to sing and shout repeatedly and cheer for someone, okay? So the people might be chanting for Robin, even though they don't know it's actually him. Maybe they're chanting for Dickon of Trent. Dickon of Trent, Dickon of Trent, like that, chanting. Marshals. Now, the marshals are the people setting up the targets and making decisions about points. So the marshals make decisions on the course. Quiver. Now a quiver, have you ever seen on the back, like they have like the case for carrying the arrows? So the arrows are held in a quiver on their back and they'll pull the arrow out of the quiver. Shafts. So the shaft is the long part of the narrow part of the arrow. So as you don't want to grab it by the pointed end because that would hurt your hand. You've got to grab it by the shaft out of the quiver, and then you can put it into the string and then aim to the target and then let go like that, and then hopefully you'll hit the target. And another word for target is mark. Hopefully you'll hit the mark. And then also we have a fletcher, and a fletcher is a person who makes and sells arrows. So whenever there's an archery contest, if you're a fletcher, you'd be loving life because everybody would be needing more arrows to get ready for the tournament, and the fletcher would make a lot of money out of that. Okay, what do you think we're going to do with these words? That's right, we're going to make some sentences of our own. We're going to try and make at least 3. So see if you can do that by pausing the video now and then coming up with your own sentences. And once you've done that, I'll show you what my sentence is as well. Okay, remember those capital letters, full stops. Pause the video, go ahead. Okay, I'll show you my sentence in 3, 2, 1. The crowd chanted for Dickon of Trent as he took the arrow from his quiver and prepared to aim for the mark. That was my sentence. Okay, I used chanted, quiver, and mark. So get 3 points for that. How many can you get? Have a go. Okay, let's have a look at today's reading then. There are the 4 archers that are left in the competition. What's going to happen? Dickon's name was chanted over and over again, for he was well liked by the Saxon villagers. There were shouts too for the tall stranger in the patched cloak. No one knew his name, but he was a Saxon, and he had hit the mark. He had hit each mark first time. The Norman shouts were all for Hugo. Tyrrell was one of Gisborne's grim-faced soldiers, and disliked for his rough ways. When the narrow target had been moved back as far as it would go, and still not one of the four had missed, there was a delay while the marshals decided what new mark should be set up. Hugo and Tyrrell waited silently while Dickon moved away to talk to friends in the crowd. Robin stood apart, selecting the best arrow from the quiver at his back. They were all fine shafts, carefully made for the contest by Hal the Fletcher, who was new to the outlaw band. As Robin tested an arrow for straightness, a burly merchant walked out from the crowd. He put an arm around Robin's shoulders and said loudly, "You are a fine bowman, friend, for all your rough appearance." Robin looked up from under his hood and recognised the man as one that he had once helped. The merchant looked keenly at the outlaw and then spoke again in a quiet and urgent whisper. "If you are the one I think you are, be careful. Gisborne is just inside the town gate with 20 mounted men ready to cut off your escape when you make for Sherwood across the open land." Robin nodded his thanks, and the man stepped back into the crowd, saying loudly again for all to hear, "Brush the hair from your eyes, beggar man, and shoot straight. You are a Saxon, remember?" The marshals finished their discussions and announced the next target. There were... Oh, it still hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened. But look, there are people in the crowd who might know, well, this burly merchant knows, that it's Robin in the disguise after all, and he's trying to warn him of Gisborne's plan to capture him after the contest. So that's nice. So we've got 4 questions. Number 1, who is the tall stranger in the patched cloak? Number 2, who was popular with the Saxon crowd, and how do we know this? Number 3, what does a Fletcher do? And number 4, who was the burly merchant, and what did he do? Pause the video now and see if you can answer those questions, and then unpause when you're ready to check your answers with me. Okay, let's have a look at what you wrote in 3, 2, 1. Well, the tall stranger in the patched cloak is Robin Hood in disguise, and he had hit the mark, first shot each time. Dickon of Trent was popular with the Saxon crowd because they kept chanting for him. A Fletcher makes and sells arrows. And the burly merchant was someone who Robin had once helped, and he decided to help Robin by warning him of Gisborne's plan to capture him with 20 mounted men. And you know what mounted means? It means that they were on horses. 20 men on horses. Okay, very well done for having a go at those. Next, so this is your opinion now. Why do you think people were chanting for the Saxon archers? And how does this show their feelings for the sheriff, who was himself a Norman? That's your opinion. 1 sentence there. Then the merchant has warned us about the trap. Would you stick around for the contest? Or would you try to escape now? It's up to you. What would you do and why? Give that a sentence as well. And pause the video there to let yourself have time to do that. Okay, well done. We'll move on to the final slide in 3, 2, 1. So your final task is to draw an escape plan for Robin. Imagine you've got a little map. You've got the tilting yard there with the competition for archery. And you've got Sherwood Forest over here. You've got Gisborne's men all around. You need to draw an escape plan with arrows to show what your way out would be. How would you escape? Because Robin wants to win the contest, but he must get away to the forest after he has the silver arrow. So I'll leave you to create his plan to how he gets out of there with that silver arrow. Okay, well done. We've covered retrieve, relate and define today, our reading gems. And next time, tomorrow, we'll continue our adventure to see who wins the contest.